and welcome to Aviation Careers Podcast. My name is Carl Valerian. I'm your host today. During our career coaching sessions, especially our group coaching, we discussed how this is a more competitive environment, hiring environment especially, and it's requiring you to become more of a marketer as a flight instructor. And to help us understand how you can obtain more students for your flight school and for yourself is Tim Jedrick of Right Rudder Marketing. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Carl, for having me. It's quite the honor to be on the show with you. Love your podcast. Love reaching out to flight schools and talking about the industry. Glad to be here. So here to answer any questions, here to talk about my business and also flight schools and whatever you think is the best thing.
Well, good. That's great because I think this is really prescient. I think this is really apropos for this environment right now. Before we get started, we just want to shout out to our wonderful sponsors, and that's Stratus Financial, and they're a private student lender for pilots, and they actually are pilots themselves. And Stratus Financial offers student loans for pilot training from zero to hero. Stratus Financial understands your needs because they are pilots, and you can find out more at stratus.finance. And as a sponsor of this podcast, Stratus Financial is giving away scholarships guides, and you can get yours for free by using the coupon code STRATUS when you visit aviationcareerspodcast.com/free. Whether it's financing your dream of flying or simply simplifying the process by taking care of some of your student loans, their efficient, hassle-free funding can connect you to a life of your dreams of becoming a professional pilot sooner than you ever thought possible. To find out more, visit stratus.finance and get one of those free scholarships guides at aviationcareerspodcast.com/free. Use the coupon code STRATUS. Well, as I said, Tim is joining us today. His business, and he'll talk a little bit about it, is more structured to the flight schools. And we kind of want to talk more to you as the individual instructor, how you can help yourself market, but also most of you obviously work at flight schools. And maybe you could take some of these ideas back to your flight schools and help them grow, which means it'll help you grow. So Tim, this is awesome having you here. I've seen some of the work you've done, and it's really exciting because I think a big part of our business in aviation in the flight school world, we don't understand a lot about running the business. Let's just, buy a plane, get a flight instructor, we got a flight school, but there's more to it, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the main things I'm seeing in the industry is that, we have so much knowledge and technical awareness when it's flying a plane, operating a plane, maintaining a plane, running it, that we get really stuck on operations. I think operations is kind of the main thing that is the bread and butter of a flight school, right? If you're not flying, if the wheels are not up in the air, you're not making any money, right? But as a business, it's so much more than just flying a plane. There's, I like to put it at 3 departments in a business, right? So up front, you have the operations. Everyone thinks about operations. That's kind of the main core that everyone thinks about. The next one is usually added in there. It's admin, HR, finance, hiring people. And the last department is sales and marketing. And a lot of times we kind of don't focus on the sales and marketing aspect, and we just think it's going to take care of themselves. But you really have to put some amount of effort, amount of brain juice into it before you actually get results. So that's my take on it, at least.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Tim, sounds like you know a lot about flight schools. Tell us a little bit about your background in aviation and why you are so, passionate about this.
So I started flying about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm based local here in St. Louis, Missouri. And, before all this, I had never touched my foot in the water of aviation. I was always thinking about it, but back then, you think about airlines and the salary back then, 5-10 years ago, and I was thinking about it, I said, it's not worth it for me. My career was actually in manufacturing. I spent about a decade in manufacturing, climbing the corporate ladder. I had a really good paying job. I started as a technician, then eventually became supervisor, then a manager, senior manager, director. And I loved it. And then actually what happened was for my birthday, my father, he went on Groupon and bought me a Discovery flight. And I was like, oh, Discovery flight. Okay, so you mean flying planes? I guess I could try it out, And I went onto my discovery flight and I caught what's called a flying bug. I just said, I love this thing. I just love flying. I can't get rid of it. I'm like, what's this? An aileron? I'm like, oh my God. And I just took it upon myself to fund my private pilot training, not and just go full force with it. And one of the things that I found when I was searching for a flight school was that from in St. Louis, at least at the time, I think it's been upgraded a lot now that I've kind of injected my marketing skills in this area. But before, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a lot of the stuff we found online was just kind of like these old websites from 1990. There's really not much on social media. There was not really anything in St. Louis for resources for new people that are interested in flying. And that was me. I was interested in flying. I didn't really know where to go, and I just literally went on Google and was like, hey, flight school near me. And then like you pull up this page from like the archives. I'm like, what is this? So I was really interested in flying because I did my discovery flight. So I went ahead and took the extra step of calling the flight schools and, hey, I want to fly. What's those steps? What's needed? And I called like every school in the local area, and it was the schools that contacted me back first, that talked to me on the phone, that got my business. And I think it's one takeaway. It's like, whenever you have a lead come into your flight school, don't take for granted the enthusiasm and the zeal of a new student, because I see it now, especially now that my eyes are kind of like glazed over. I'm kind of like, okay, I've been flying for a bit, whatever. But whenever I see a new student at a flight school, they just seem so, that's genuine happiness and passion of like, oh, I want to fly. And I kind of lost it already. I still love flying, but seeing that, I think as flight school owners, CFIs even, you see that passion and like that want of genuine, like, I want to fly. I think we have to really address that and really capture that. And it's speed to lead. That's kind of the marketing term here, is speed to lead. So the flight school or the CFI that reaches out to that student, that prospective student, gets that lead faster. It's about customer service. So anyway, talk about my story. I kind of went on a rail here.
Absolutely.
I kind of went off the tangent here, but I started flying for 5 years ago, and I was working full-time job, working in the industry for manufacturing. And I was like considering, hey, maybe this is a good route. Maybe I can join the airlines. Maybe I could, do something out of this. And kind of as another sideline. So this is my main career path, was like, manufacturing, climb the corporate ladder, do this thing. And I was doing it pretty well. And then I had like, okay, maybe I can go airlines. So that was another branch, And then the second branch that was also there was also like website design and marketing. And I had, as a hobby, I loved making websites. I loved, learning how to code, how to program. And I was very fortunate, maybe, I want to say maybe 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I sold a few websites for a couple $100. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. This is my first time making money outside of employment. This is an option, And so these two branches were going like concurrently. And then like I kind of met some good mentors and coaches. And I think that's another kind of second takeaway here, is find a really good coach, find a good mentor, whether it's another senior CFI, a chief pilot, someone in the airlines has done this. I found a coach that had done a marketing game. And he did it he was not a pilot, but he did the marketing game, started from zero, went all the way to multiple $1 million company. And he said, if you really want to grow your business for website design and marketing, you have to find, a niche. You have to find a specialty. And one of the questions he asked me was, where do you spend all your time and money at? And immediately, in my head, it's like, oh, I fly, train, where I fly, once a week, twice a week, just, on a Cessna, and I spend like hundreds of dollars an hour doing it. It's like, oh, that's a good niche. You should try that out. And that's kind of how, Right Rudder Marketing was born. So that was about 2 years ago, and when everything kind of came into play. And then, I started 2 years ago, and then it was really slow at first. I had a full-time job at the time. We had our first flight school partner with us, luckily in our local area here in St. Louis. Shout out Ideal Aviation. So we started for a bit, and it just grew organically. I was working full-time job, and finally around August, 1 year ago, actually, August, September of last year, I was like, I'm making a decent amount of money in my side gig in this business. I can do this full-time. And I pulled the trigger back in August, and September is when I went full time just in the business, and it's just been growing ever since. So here we are today, and that's kind of my story.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations on building this business. There really is a need, especially in the flight school business, as far as marketing and sales. It's almost like a desert out there, and I have to say, if you go to like even air shows, you find that it's really challenged. The ability for people to market and sell throughout the aviation industry. You're focusing on flight schools, and what's really cool is the fact that not only have you had this passion and you wanted to solve a problem, you actually came up with a solution, and you called, I think it's a flight school marketing system that you came up with, and you do this for all the different flight schools, which is really cool. And I think that is nice, because I think a lot of people like to have them show the steps to get from point A to point B, kind of like a syllabus, right, in a flight school. So that's something that I want to talk a little bit about. And if you're listening or watching as a flight instructor, if you could just take one thing away from what we talk about here today and bring it to your flight school, it'll multiply. It definitely will multiply. And I think, and I've seen the results of what you've done and did a lot of research on Right Rudder marketing. I think it's terrific. But let's talk a little bit about that. Some of the things like, bringing people in, what do you do at the flight school marketing? What is the flight school marketing system?
So the flight school marketing system is really based on 3 steps. So there's the first one is bringing people to your website, getting people to know who you are. The second one is really having them become a lead, or filling out a form, filling out a discovery flight. And the last step is really getting them to become a recurring student at your school. That's it. Just 3 steps. So get people. First one's kind of brand awareness. Like, hey, who is this flight school? Who's the CFI? The second one is kind of a commitment stage. Like, hey, I got to give you my information, my email, my phone number. And really the last one is like sales, closing the sale. How do we get them like on the finish line to become a student? And there's multiple ways to do this. There's so many different like outlets we have. And, we think about it as different control surfaces of an airplane, right? And it really starts, the first one is the website. So really making sure you have your website that is, first off, it's fast, it's mobile friendly, it has what we call funnels. It's a marketing term, but really you have buttons that lead the visitor to a form. I think that's the main thing. And it's really engineering it in such a way that when someone finds the website, when someone finds the school's information, it's easy for that person to contact that school. A lot of times you don't put the contact us form until the very bottom, or there's no phone number on the website. These are just easy things that you can add, even a chat widget on the side of the website. These are easy things to add on your website that allows visitors that are just learning about your school to contact you, even on your social media profile. These are things that doesn't require code. Just add your phone number on the social media profile, or an email, or a link tree. Simple things, but a lot of schools don't do it, right? The second one is, getting the form. So getting sure that you have this form submit and all that stuff. And what we do is we actually have what's called a CRM. So CRM is a software called Customer Relationship Management. So if you've ever worked in any industry outside of aviation, you're going to know what CRM is. It's not crew resource management, unfortunately. What it is you take all these leads that come in and you kind of categorize them in a pipeline. So, initial contact, did we follow up with this person? How they booked a flight, follow up after the flight, and then finally student. And then from there, you might have another pipeline, like onboarding pipeline, where it's like, hey, did we get the documents ready for them? Have they done their TSA verification? There's all these different steps in your sales process that you need to kind of think about as either a CFI or a flight school owner, understand that what step of each lead they're in. And having a software to do that, a lot of people try with like pen and paper, which is if you don't want to invest in software, do pen and paper. Second to that, do Excel. You get them at least on an Excel sheet, Lastly, if you really get, if you're having to manage 50 even or 100 leads per month, and it's going to get really overbearing after a bit, I recommend getting some software out there. But that's the main components. We also have, SEO. SEO is kind of the technical aspect of it, looking at your website keywords, looking at backlinks, looking at other places you can list your business in. So Yelp, Bing, Yahoo, Apple Maps, AOPA, even Garmin, Flight Plan Go. These are all different websites you can list your flight school, your business in, And when you have more of a network reach, it helps kind of propel your website on the top of search. And when you get to the top of search, top 3 especially, you're going to get a ton of like traffic. Like it's kind of sad that the top 3 schools in an area get like 80% of all the traffic. So if you're number 10 or number 15 and you're like, hey, my phone's dry, but no one's ringing my phone, you might want to work on your website. You might want to work on SEO, get yourself to the top 3. Even 4 can get some more traffic than like the 10th. Last kind of aspect of it is like ads. So we run ads as well. So Google ads, Facebook ads. You can even branch out to Bing ads, Reddit ads, Hulu, YouTube. There's so many different platforms people use. I kind of focus more on Google ads and Facebook ads just because that's the most like bang for buck. But those are kind of the main pillars or control surfaces that we use to really get those 3 steps done. So 3 steps: get people to your website, get people to know about you, have them fill out a form. Step 2. Step 3 is really make them a customer. So that's the sales process, that's their CRM and all that stuff. So that's really it in a nutshell. It's really simple. I think anyone can do it. I think just a lot of people either A, don't have time, or B, don't want to do it. It is work. It's a lot of work. So, but it's not hard work.
Absolutely.
So,
But it is work, and honestly, if you're focused on another part of your business, you need someone to help you. We were just talking about that before the show. Is that as you grow your flight school, your business, you got to reach out, and you're going to need help. It really is amazing. Even if you're like a small, one plane business and one instructor, you're still going to need help from other folks. Some of the things that you were talking about, like SEO and like this pay-per-click kind of thing, those are things that, okay, I could probably figure out, but I don't really have the time to do that because I'm focusing on running my business. And that's something that you guys provide. That's a service that you provide, which, by the way, you can find out at rightruddermarketing.com, rightruddermarketing.com. If you're following along, go check out the website. So how is it that you help people? Because honestly, that's a lot. It's like, as I'm listening, I was like, gosh, how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, it's like, gosh, how do I start? How do I start, with the process? It's like, I'm assuming one step at a time.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, Right Rudder Marketing, I'm just talking about flight schools in general, not even talking about my company here, but, the company does provide this. So, that's our package really and we offer different tiers for different sizes. If you're just, maybe 3-4 planes, you might not be able to do a full, like, hey, do every single advertising platform, do every single blog post out there that's possible. It does cost resources and time. So, there's different levels to it, right? And it is something that we do offer, and it's something that I like to, promote. And I really, I'm grateful for the flight schools that work with us, because I think as a partner and as a vendor, I'm very honored by all the flight schools that have chosen Right Rudder Marketing to be their marketing partner, because really it gives us the opportunity to help them be the best. It's a two-way street, I think one of the things that I've seen when I'm talking to a prospective flight school is like, hey, is it a done-for-you solution? And it's like, kind of, but not really. I mean, yeah, we're going to do all this work for you, but at the same time, if you're not answering the phone, if you're not picking up, if you're not giving best customer service, if your CFIs are just building time and they're not really passionate about flying and teaching your student, it's going to show, and you're going to get bad Google reviews, and I can't do much about it, So it has to be, I think the business owner and the CFI and the whole team has to be committed to really providing the best aviation service to their students. And then when you couple that with like really good marketing, Right Rudder Marketing, you're just gonna have a really good product, right? But it's two ways. You can't just like invest in one or the other. You have to have them both work concurrently for you. So, and I kind of touched on that too. Like the CFIs are like, you guys are the front face of the school. Like you represent the entire business. So it's very important that you understand your work culture, the company, what their mission and vision is, and you really provide that best service. Because like, even for me, I mean, I'm not going to call out any names here, but as a new student, like a couple of years ago, I had been flying around, and I tried multiple schools before I finally picked one, because, and the main deciding factor was actually not price. It was actually the CFI that was the most understanding, that had the best connection with me. That's the CFI and flight school with it that I chose to do my training. So this is kind of my take on it.
And a lot of times it's just one thing that you can change that makes a huge difference. We were talking about all these different things, and as far as marketing and customer service, you talked about something before. It's people getting back to you, answering the phone. I mean, that's so important. Even if you don't know the answer. I do that all the time. I have people that send me emails. I'm like, yeah, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can help you. And that is actually really good for your business, is that if this is not something you can help them with, a lot of times they come back to you, and then they look to you for help. It may not be for another 6 months, 6 days, whatever it may be. But there's so many different avenues that you can go in driving customers to your business. And by the way, I hope you agree with me, but as an instructor, you are a business. You are a piece of that business, but you are your own business too. And if you treat yourself that way, I think you will actually get yourself many more students and also help you. It'll definitely help you make more money as a flight instructor. I'm hoping you agree with that.
One thing I've noticed as I went into business was as I do sales, right? Because I have to sell my business and my own company and my products and services to flight schools. It's very similar to a job interview. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but before I did this business stuff and I was climbing the corporate ladder, going, up from technician all the way to department head and all that stuff. Every single interview I had to sell myself, my experience, what I did, and I think the exact same thing applies for pilots that are breaking into the aviation industry. They got their 1,500 hours. How do you market yourself out of everyone else that's out there? Because if you didn't participate in events, if you weren't volunteering or putting the time in at your flight school to maybe be on the safety committee or something like that, you don't have these extracurriculars that are embedded in your resume, you're not going to stand out. I mean, yeah, of course the flight time is very important. Get the multi-engine time, get all this stuff to get that going, but how do we sell ourselves as a business, or how do I sell myself as a person to my employer or to whomever it is? And the same thing applies if you're running a business. How do I sell my business to another business or to a customer? If I'm a person, how do I sell my resume, my experience, my time? I'm selling really my time to you, to the company. So I think it's something it's another mind shift thing that we have to think about, is we're really marketing ourselves. Especially, think about your LinkedIn profile, think about your Facebook profile. I mean, you think that employers don't look at your personal profiles? They do. I mean, whenever I had a technician apply to my department, this is back in manufacturing days, I would check their social media. I mean, that's not something bad. It's just hey, is this person a good type of person that I want on my team? And what type of information can I find just on the public, that's out there? So just take that into consideration. I mean, just careful what you post online. Be professional. Be be who you think your employer wants you to be. I mean, and be yourself at the same time. You want to be creative. So, just my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's some great advice, because that's a big part of what I do in our coaching. Is I do a social media review, and it's quite interesting to see what's out there. And when you realize that the employer does look at your social media, some people are shocked at that. It's no, they'll really drill down pretty deep too and spend some time on there. I want to circle back to something you said, and I think it's really important for the individual instructor. And you called it CRM. We talk about CRM all the time, flying, right? But you have this product, your flight school customer relations management software. That is something that I think is so incredibly important, because you have to, as the individual instructor, become involved in that process, not just the actual school. And you do have this product for the school, but you might be the person that's going to pick up the baton and do the follow-up yourself. And I think that's really, really important. So is there something within your flight school management relationship software that you have that might help the individual instructor that we're talking to today?
I think so. There's a lot of with CRM software, we want to rely, especially because as pilots, we like technology, we like features. There's a lot of automation that can be done, and I think my main advice for people using any software is to not rely on the software, but rely on your people. The software is only a tool, but what really matters is the hand that holds the tool. some cool features that I like just out of our CRM, and this works for most CRMs too. So there's like, I think Monday CRM is one of them, HubSpot. I mean, there's tons of options out there. It depends on what your flight school has. We offer our own kind of white label service that has, CRM as built into it. But at the end of the day, they're all the same. They're all kind of the same thing. But one feature I really like is the text back. So people call flight school, and then no one answers the phone, unfortunately. And then our CRM does, it will text back that person, say, "Hey, thank you for calling Right Rudder Flight School. Sorry you missed your call. Is there anything we can do to help?" And it's a text message, And we've seen a lot of people that called reply back. But really, what I've seen also, kind of to break away from that feature point, is that it's not really the owners that are using the CRM. I think you hit the nail on the head here. It's actually the people that are doing the sales, which is usually CFIs or front desk or admin, that are the people that are actually running the CRM. Myself or my account managers and the flight school owners will meet at the end of the month and review the data. Like, we'll be the management, of the CRM. We're looking at, hey, what happened here? But the day-to-day operations is not us. It's really the CFIs. It's the people running the school. It's the admin staff, sales staff, whatever you have in front desk. They're the people that are, adding the notes. Whenever we see that flight school's not adding notes, it's like, well, did this person actually get called? I don't even know. It's like, this person called us like two weeks ago, and like, what happened to it? And we have to ask, the front desk, hey, did this person call, or what happened? So my takeaway for this is, if your flight school has invested in some type of CRM software, or they're using Excel, it doesn't matter. Just take good notes. Just take good notes. That way, you hold yourself accountable, and you hold your flight school accountable. It's all about accountability, right? I think if you don't document it, it doesn't happen. That's another kind of practice I learned back in manufacturing. We have, say you do it what you say, then prove it. So make sure you document what you did. If you call this person, hey, I called this person on August 11th, at 3:00, and he said no, or he said yes, and then write it down and then move on. So take good notes. That's my takeaway for CRM software. And yeah, just get used to it. Every company's moving towards it. You might as well get used to the software. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's terrific advice. Because remember, you as a CFI, you're an ambassador for that flight school. And part of being an ambassador is actually a collection of information and also presenting a good image. And part of that image process is just the fact that you get back to them. Something that, like we do at the airlines, the most important thing is talking to the customer. Even if you have no information, is constantly talking to the customer and say to them, hey, it's 15 minutes later, we have no information for you, but I just want to give you an update that we are trying to find out more information. Just the fact that you actually have told them that you're thinking about them is so important. And you need to do that, I think, especially, as a flight instructor with a flight school. So good stuff. I tell you, this is really terrific. And there's a couple more things I kind of wanted to talk about. And again, this is more focused towards the individual flight instructor. But if you're working for a flight school, I really think you should have them take a look at this, right? Rudder marketing. You should look at it yourself and see what you think, and then see if you could recommend it. But another thing that I hear a lot of from students or people that are working at a flight school, they're like, Carl, and I get this question, so I'm going to ask you this one, is, maybe I'll start my own flight school. And I tell them, I said, that's a great idea. And I just want them to know that there's certain things, certain challenges to owning a flight school, and I think hearing it from you would be really interesting. So, what things do you think there would be as far as the different challenges to running a flight school for somebody who's thinking about starting one themselves?
I think the first question I'd ask you is, are you sure? Are you sure you want to start a flight school? I've been laughing at it because we already know the answer. It's like, I don't reckon it's not for the faint of heart. It is really not for the faint of heart. It's not the same thing as just flying around and having fun. It is a business. It is a business, and it's a very hard business, and it's cyclical. It's volatile. And it's very expense heavy. So, I mean, if you have a lot of cushion, a lot of funding, a lot of finances, then I would say go for it. But I think that is kind of one of the biggest challenges of running a flight school is the financial aspect. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but yeah, profit margins, number of expenses. You're fine. Let's say you have two planes on your fleet, right? One goes, has an overhaul due. You have, it's gonna be down for weeks, or whatever. That's revenue. Whenever the plane's not in the air, it's revenue that's being lost. So how do we optimize for that? These are all the new problems that you're gonna have to face as a new owner of a flight school. Let alone the amount of competition that's already in your local area. I mean, that's another big one. So if I was thinking about the biggest challenge really is first we kind of talked about in the first one. So being stuck in operations, right, is one of the biggest ones. We think about, we know how to fly a plane. Maybe we know a little bit of maintenance. Maybe you're an IA or an A&P already. We kind of know the maintenance part of it. But like I said, there's three aspects of running a business, right? You have the operations, you have your HR, admin, finance, then you have sales and marketing. If you have skills in all three, then I mean, go for it. Just do it. I think you could be a good fit. I think you can really help the aviation industry by training more pilots. But a lot of us are not. I mean, for me, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in running a flight school. I mean, I've worked with a lot of flight schools, but do I want to start flying students around? Maybe in 10 years or so after, I've grown this business and I'm trying to branch out and learn new skills. But the takeaway is I need to learn new skills. I need to learn, new things. And I think that's something that as, a new flight school owner is you have to open your mind to new possibilities. You have to open your mind to new concepts of running a business because it's not just about planes anymore. It's about customer service. It's about sales. It's about marketing. It's about how do I have decent profits. And kind of going back to the finances, that is number one financial burden. The reason why flight schools pop up then die is finances. The finances are the health and lifeline of a company, no matter what company. You could be a dry cleaning business, you can be a lawn care business, you can be a flight school business. If you do not have revenue coming in, then you're not really going to be able to. It's like the blood. It's like the fuel of your plane. You need some fuel, right? Ideally, you get a better engine that runs more efficiently. We create processes, you create SOPs, standard operating procedures that are in your business. You have training, onboarding and training for your team. You have high retention for your team, so you make sure you're very selective with the people you choose to run your business. I know CFIs are kind of we call it a revolving door. We get the 1,500 hours, we leave. We kind of know that, that's kind of the game, right? We already know that, right? But flight schools want someone that teaches while building hours, not someone that's building hours while teaches. It's always someone that has passion. So you as an owner has to be able to identify, is this guy just trying to build time and it's going to ruin my company, or is this guy going to really help my business out? So really getting that information, getting the hiring process dialed in, onboarding, and really another one that we don't think about is the admin staff. You can't just hire anybody to run your admin. You need to have someone that's, has a really nice personality, that smiles a lot, that's really, friendly to customers, that knows at least a decent amount of aviation. They don't have to be a pilot per se, but they have to know a little bit about the aviation industry as a whole, because they're going to be selling your packages and your flight plans or flight programs to these prospective students. And that's really, I think, that's like this, like, I hate to say it, but like that secretary person or that like assistant person is like the number two person in the company. So you have your owner, founder, then like whoever's this front desk is like, they're going to be your Bonnie and Sherry Clyde. I mean, they have to be, Absolutely. You have to sync up really well. If your guys not syncing up, then as the owner and the admin, it's going to be hard because they're taking care of all the stuff that you don't want to take care of. So, yeah, those are the challenges, just think about it. Just make sure you don't look up advice about starting a flight school. Look up advice about how to run a business, how to start a business. Because I think that we kind of think about more about the flying a plane, the hours, the loans, whatever it is. But I encourage you, if you're interested in starting a flight school, which I hope you are, because we need more flight schools in America. Instead of looking at different types of planes you can buy, different types of people you can hire, thinking about, research how to start a business, research how to, market your company, research how to do brand awareness. Because at the end of the day, it is revenue that is the lifeblood of the business. And there is one saying, I'm going to end here with, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. So you can have a $1 million flight school that's bringing, flight school, maybe you have 10 planes or whatever, is bringing all this revenue in. But if you are expending it all on marketing, planes, overhauls, maintenance, staff, HR pay, payroll, if you're spending all that money away and you're only taking home less than 5%, you're only taking home maybe say 50 grand a year, is it really worth it anymore? That's something that I want to end on, because you want to make sure you increase your profit as much as you can while still providing great service and being safe. I mean, that's safety is number one too. So a lot of factors go into running a flight school. I hope I didn't discourage anyone from it, but I just want to make sure we all have there's some transparency in the industry that this is what's involved. I mean, flight school owners are a different breed. They are I love them because they're my partners, and I work with them day to day. But my heart goes out to them because it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and I don't think under people that are outside of the industry or people that are just flying planes every day, they don't realize how much pain and how much sacrifice an owner or a business owner has to go through. And I hope that kind of gives you some good idea. It's a fun job. So let's end on a positive note here. Running a flight school is fun as hell. I love it because you're really training the next generation of pilots. You're really becoming the source of truth when it comes to aviation. You're really bringing that seed of new pilots in the industry, and it's such a great opportunity. It's lovely. I love it. Just consider pros and cons, the benefits and consequences of it. And I think if your passion and your love for aviation, your love for teaching is that much, let's do it, because I think it's a great opportunity. I'll end there.
Well, you got me sold. Absolutely. And I think that was a great description, by the way, of the business of flight schools and any business really. I think a lot of people don't realize, even doing what I do, with the career counseling, and I think we need more. It's just people don't realize. I mean, I do this like 7 days a week. I'm answering emails and getting back to people, but you have to love it, and you have to realize that's just kind of part of it. But I'd encourage you to get involved. But if you're somebody that actually is like, well, maybe I really don't want to do that, but I want to be able to help my business, well, give the business the tools that they need to make a profit and become successful. And one of those is, using somebody like a Right Rudder Marketing to help them market their business. So before we close, just tell us a little bit how they can get in touch with you at Right Rudder Marketing, and how they could help maybe even get you into their flight school and how to present you to a flight school.
I think the best thing to do is, if you are interested in any marketing services for a flight school or aviation business, just give me a call. It's 314. It's on the background right here. 314-358-2100. You can also check out our website. There's forms on there. There's a contact us form. There's a book a call with me form. There's download my checklist form, whatever, So we do the same stuff we do for flight schools on our website too. So just check us out, redruddermarketing.com. Look at our social media, subscribe to our YouTube, whatever it is, and just reach out. There's so many ways to do it. If you have chat widgets, you have whatever it is. I think it's not impossible, but 314-358-2100 is my personal line. It goes direct to my cell phone, not the company phone. So if you guys want to reach out to me directly, you have my permission. So.
Outstanding. Tim, this has been awesome. I really appreciate your coming here. And if you have questions, feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com, or shoot him a voicemail, a text, or something to his personal phone there. It really is a big help for people to understand the marketing behind the business. And just one person helping out in one way will actually increase that business tremendously. So Tim, again, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Carl, for the opportunity. Really was honored to be on this podcast. Looking forward to seeing it out there in the social media channels, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. And by the way, if you're looking for some help in other things, like helping you move forward in your career or getting ready for an interview, don't forget that we have the career coaching. And a lot of people have asked me, I really don't want to do the one-on-one coaching, but I want to still stay motivated and I want to be informed. Well, we decided to start this group mastermind, and it's an online group, and I think it's really helpful because it's only $20 a month, and You actually get an industry update that I do, and I only do that online because I really don't put that out in the social media. We also have an inspirational story, but the second half of that is answering your questions. And it's in a group atmosphere, so we can actually ask questions of each other and try to come up with solutions. Where should I look for this type of job? How are things going on your side of the industry, and those type of things. But to get involved with that, it's really simple. If you want to take a look, and it's really easy. It's something that is just an online course. It's something you can look at all the past coaching sessions by using a coupon code, and that's Coach It Forward. You can go to the coaching tab, aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching, and click on that, and just use the coupon code Coach It Forward. You get 1 month free, and that 1 month free, by the way, actually enables you to see all the past coaching sessions. And like I said, one of the biggest things people look for in that is my industry outlook that I really don't share much on social media, but it's actually something I do a lot of work with. But if you want to stay informed, you want to be inspired, you want to get information, you want to have this collaborative environment, I highly recommend going to aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching. Check out the group coaching. Also, don't forget, if you want to get one of those free scholarships guides, go to aviationcareerspodcast.com/free. Use the coupon code Stratus, and our wonderful sponsors at Stratus Finance. They really are people that are pilots providing loans to pilots, and we really appreciate them. But do me a favor, all these things that we talked about with Tim, make sure that if you're sitting here listening or you're watching on YouTube, you don't stop here. What I want you to do is actually take action today. Take a step today to move forward in your career and in your life, whether it's taking something that we just talked about in this video and you implementing it in your life, whether it's doing research, watching YouTube, listening to more podcasts out there, or simply just reading a book on aviation. Take one step today to move forward in your career, in your life, and I am sure you will get to your destination much quicker than you ever thought possible. We'll talk to you next episode. Safe flying out there.